Yeah, thank you for giving us the time to show you something about our Thünen Center of Competence on the origin of timber and how we are doing the identification of internationally traded timbers. And as we just discussed a few minutes ago, it would be worth to have such labs at least on every continent. So it's maybe interesting to see how we are dealing with. Can you please go ahead with the next slide? Oh, thanks. So with the implementation of the EOTR in Europe, the 3 Thünen institutes were concentrated to the Thünen Center of Competence on the origin of timber. And one is our institute. This is the Thünen Institute of Wood Research. We are wood anatomists and specialize on the macroscopic and microscopic wood identification. Our colleagues from the forest genetics are specialists on the genetic identification of wood species and origin. And last but not least, we have our colleagues from the international forestry and forest economics, which are specialized on the evaluation of the certificates and timber market analysis. Can you please go ahead with the next slide? Thanks. So just our institute is doing a lot of expertises, and you see how many expertises we made in the last years and how the number of expertises is growing all over that years. And we are doing a lot of expertises for the competent authorities, but the main amount of the number of expertises is for the timber traders. And for each expertise, you have to know that we analyze there for 1 to 20 samples. So we really have a huge experience with that. And it's great that with GTTN we could share our expertise with the global community of wood anatomists and all experts of identification of wood. And I think I do not have to say anything to the analysis guide from GTTN, because it was already introduced here. So please, next slide. Our department developed a lot of computerized databases for wood identification, and the most of these databases are for specialists. But there's also the database of Citus Wood ID, which we developed for the support of customers, for example, to identify with less anatomic knowledge the Citus protected wood, and to easily decide which should be sent to the specialist somewhere with a lab. So please go ahead. In the last year, we also pushed forward the reference database for the analysis of fiber materials like pulp, paper, and fiberboards. And 2 years ago, we published another atlas to identify these materials just by the anatomy of the cells. And with the next slide, I would like to pass the presentation to my colleague Volker.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Just a very few words about charcoal identification. We are also providing charcoal identification, which is still, well, charcoal is still one of the least controlled or monitored segments of the European timber market, not yet covered by the European timber regulation, which makes the charcoal identification that important. Problem with charcoal is that you cannot prepare slides easily. Like you can use it standardly for classical wood identification using slides, because charcoal is that brittle. We use a new approach, which we call the 3D reflected light microscopy. You can see it there. What we are doing is we generate pictures like 3D profiles of charcoal on the microscopic scape, and then we have those beautiful pictures that we need for the identification of structural features. And so we can easily separate species from temperate origin or tropical, subtropical origin. And you can find this method described in details in the recently appeared IBR journal publication, Wood Identification of Charcoal with 3D Reflected Light Microscopy. And we used it the last time very intensive with the European Charcoal Trade Project. Therefore, we investigated 150 consignments from the European market, representing the charcoal of 11 countries. And now we can tell you exactly how great are the amounts of tropical timbers in the charcoal used in Europe, detailed for every single country. And even this is declared much more in detail in the publication, the European Charcoal Trade. And you can get access to both publications because we just uploaded them today on the GTTN charcoal page on the ResearchGate. So if you're interested, please don't hesitate. And the last page, last slide, please. And thank you very much for your attention. And if you have different questions, please get in contact through Volker